Asmongold made a video on what's going on with Bungie, and I kind of want to hear what he's got to say. I watch his stuff, so let's see what he had to say about everything going on at Bungie.
People are very upset about Destiny. So Destiny fired a bunch of people. This is actually a pretty big news story. Bungie's CEO claims layoffs were due to Destiny 2 underperformance. The total number of employees impacted is estimated to be around 100. I will say that I think that the online community treats layoff. It's very weird how sensitive like video game companies are to like layoffs, because I feel like, I mean,
he said the words
on Twitter fire like thousands of people this year. Anyway, I still think it's sad to see it happen. In an internal town meeting addressing a round of layoffs today,
Twitter,
impacted multiple departments.
Facebook,
Bungie CEO Pete Parsons recently told remaining employees at the company that they had kept the right people to continue work on Destiny 2. Let me ask you guys a question. Is Destiny 2 in a good spot right now?
No.
Uh-oh.
No.
Maybe he doesn't know what he's talking about. Speaking to multiple and current recently laid off employees, IGN has confirmed reports that Bungie took responsibility for the layoffs rather than laying them at the feet of parent company Sony. That's good. I'm glad they did that. Probably had nothing really to do with Sony. Maybe it did. I don't know. Parsons told employees the layoffs were largely due to underperformance of Destiny 2 over the last year, as well as lower than expected pre-orders for the upcoming expansion, The Final.
That's because a lot of people, they didn't even pre-order, you know? Like, people didn't even pre-order. It was too far out.
Final shape. So let me explain to you why I don't play Destiny 2. I'm going to do a list, all right? Too many things to buy. Those are the main reasons.
Wait a minute. He says combat is not super cool. All right, I'm going to disagree with you there. Got the best feeling gun flow out of all of them. If Bungie gave their like gun feel, the way it feels to shoot guns and slide around and move around, to another dev company, it'd be over. But cosmetics and things to buy, I agree with.
Combat is the only good thing. Yeah, I don't think it seems like super cool. It's like okay, but like it's whatever, right? This is from my perspective. There's too many things that you have to buy in the game. The cosmetics seem weird, and I'm just not like super excited about it. The game's funish to play, but there's so many hoops to jump through for mid gameplay. Yeah, I mean, like that's the thing, right? Is like it's a lot of work. IGN can now independently confirm that reports that the final shape has been delayed to June 2024, and Marathon, that's this game here, has been internally delayed to 2025 after having been in development since 2019. Employees were told Destiny 2 player sentiment was at an all-time low.
So that paragraph is important to me because they say that Destiny 2 player sentiment was at an all-time low, but Lightfall broke all the records, which it kind of confuses me. And it's cool to see the paragraph, the sentence where people say the devs were saying they were begging for changes for months to win the player base back. But to me, I know this is a hot topic. It's too little, too late. Like. I feel like that sentence right there could be blown out of proportion, or it could be right or it could be wrong. But I just feel like devs wouldn't have had to make the changes to win the player base back if it was done the right way first. Or did the suits up top not let them? We don't know.
Parsons was criticized in some quarters by calling the layoffs a sad day at Bungie. Okay, so this is a comment that Pete Parsons had made on Twitter. Let's go ahead and see what he had to say. So he tweeted this out, and he got the OG ratio. Okay, not getting more likes, but where he got more comments on his post than likes. That's very bad. So today's a sad day at Bungie as we say goodbye to colleagues who have made a significant impact on our studio. What those exceptional individuals have contributed to our games in Bungie has been enormous and will continue to be a part of the Bungie load in the future. And so, anyway, I don't know why he would say this. It doesn't really make sense to say anything like that. Yeah, it's PR talk. Yeah, like, why even say anything? Just, like, fire him and be like, yep, that's about it. Exact number of all the people that were still nebulous. Some sources suggested roughly 100 employees, reported to Bloomberg earlier today. Multiple employees claimed internally Bungie leadership had tried to obfuscate the numbers and departments impacted while discouraging employees from asking questions on the topic. Employees expressed frustration about the layoffs, saying that they felt the decisions leading to the company's apparent money struggles were out of their hands, and those who were laid off were being punished for a problem they largely did not cause. Being the one who's laid off based off decisions and performances of people in departments you're not involved with, being deemed expendable hurts. It's very hard for me to know how true this is, right? Like, because I mean, like, yeah, it sucks, but the truth is there are people that are expendable.
Thank you.
There is a spectrum.
That comment doesn't go out to Bungie. I'm just saying everybody's expendable.
Like, there are some people that are more valuable than other people. Like, if you've ever done any team sport, if you've ever been in a team, you would know this is true. Not every job is needed long term. The OG soundtrack composer was fired. Yeah, but why did they fire him? I have no idea.
We don't know.
They also got rid of Marty O'Donnell, who was like the main guy, right? I thought for Halo. And they did that years and years ago for seemingly minor infractions. Well, does Destiny have a lot of bugs in it? Is it a buggy game?
No. His whole chat's saying not really. What? Tuesday reset? Hello? They all spam not really. Ain't no way.
Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about this. I think that the problem is that from an outsider's perspective, we have no idea whether these firings were justified or not. Everybody always likes to talk about, oh, this is so sad. Like, I can feel bad for the people that lost their job, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they did or they didn't deserve to lose their job. I have no idea. And I don't think anybody does. Maybe some of these reporters have kind of an idea because they talk to some of the people that work there. But keep in mind, you're talking to the people that got fired. How many people, like, I've had a lot of people that I've tried.
That's exactly what they did. They got fired and then they started squealing about the delay and talking about all this bad stuff that happened at Bungie. I mean, we don't know.
Filed in a guild before, and whenever they fail their trial, they think the guild sucks. Big surprise. I bet a lot of people, whenever they get fired, they think it's not their fault. And the things that they might have done wrong, the management thinks they did wrong, they don't think they did wrong. Or they don't think it's their fault, or they're blaming somebody else for it, or there's some sort of reason why that happened. The management team is never actually going to say the real reason why people were fired.
No.
So I think this is definitely sad, but at the end of the day, the proof is in the pudding. And what I mean by that is that, are the games good or not? Because all of these things don't really matter, but whenever the game is problematic and the game is fucked up, well, then why the hell are you firing people? You need to be hiring more people and doing a better job keeping the people that are doing a good job. No way for us to know whether these layoffs were justified or not. Because obviously from the people that are being laid off, they're going to say that it wasn't justified because they didn't want to lose their job. I also think that most people, even the people that aren't good at their job, are going to have a sympathetic opinion towards themselves. They weren't justified? How do you know that, though? Did you read accounts of somebody talking about it from secondhand? Like, how do you really know that? We don't really know. He made it up. My dad works at Bungie. Really? My dad works at Nintendo. He told me you were lying. So I'm realistic and understand the best composer was let go, responsible for some of the most well-regarded music, so I'm worried if other choices were justified. Here's always what I assumed. Is like with Marty O'Donnell. Whenever they got rid of Marty O'Donnell, I assumed that there is a reason why they got rid of him that we will never know. It's some sort of getting along problem that he had with like the executives, or like something weird happened. Like, I have no idea what it was, but I don't think it was something as simple as we just fired him because we wanted to save money. I don't think that it was that simple. Now, I could be wrong, but again, whenever I look at something, that doesn't completely make sense to me. Bungie tried to hide the exact number of layoffs internally. Now,
damn, this guy is cooking.
I think that this is a big factor. And this is one thing that does make Bungie look a little bit guilty. They're hiding the layoffs. If you're laying people off, just lay them off. It's not that complicated.
Again, though, that's coming from a Paul Tassi tweet. We don't know if that's true or not. Isn't that what he just said, though? He said, how do we know what's true and what's not true?
Never let go of people who are truly valuable to the operation of the current games. Publicly traded companies don't like to announce layoffs as it impacts stock value. Oh, that could be true. Yeah, you could be right about that.
Yeah, I know it's just a summary, but like it's still though the IGN article doesn't know that. Like that's what people just don't understand. Like I'm telling you, like dude, like when I got laid off, they picked social security numbers. They literally just if your social security number got picked, you were gone. It was all random, but also underperformance. Some people got canned because they didn't do their job good.
But as an outsider perspective, this game, I have heard only bad things about Destiny 2 for the past like 2 years. And then they fire the people that are working on the game. I don't know. That's probably what I would do too. It's bad. Like everybody's saying it's bad. So what is this? Why is this somehow? So the game is bad, but you can't fire the people that are making the game. Well, how did the game become bad? It's a management issue. And that is a problem. Everything that I'm saying right now is complete fucking hearsay. But I can't be the person that whenever I see a bunch of people getting fired from a job, I automatically assume that they're in the right. And it was like, oh, it was all management. I don't believe it was all management.
No.
Now, maybe it could mostly be management, but I don't know that. And that's the thing. Now, if you actually had the ability to ask the management, why did you ignore those things? Do you think that they would just say because we didn't want to do them? Why would they do that?
No. You guys remember when the devs kept tweeting, asking players feedback of what they wanted in the game? What changes would you like to see in PvP? What upcoming changes would you like to see in the game? You guys remember those? Do you remember them tweeting that? So there's a way to listen to the community, and then there's a way to come up with your own ideas. So like as devs, as suits, well, we're not even going to talk about the devs. We're going to talk about the suits, the up high, the up high that make the decisions. It's their job to make the game good because half the time, or I'm not even going to put a number on it, most of the time, the community is either right or wrong. Like someone will be like, hey, bring back this old raid Leviathan. Like that's a dumb idea, or hey, bring back Galahorn. That was a good idea, But to some people, it wasn't a good idea. But like, shouldn't the game companies come up with those ideas themselves? Like, that's what they're for,
It's sad so many devs are just silenced. Well, that's because, and this is the problem, right? Is that a lot of these games this is a business venture. They are making this game. The purpose of Destiny 2 is to make money. That's why it's weird that no one in management lost their job here. And I think that's a big issue. Because at the end of the day,
that is a big issue. I was thinking about that last night when I was watching a movie. No management.
Like, I can respect Unity because Unity, their CEO, fucking John Riccatello, he's gone. He's done. He's out. And that's what should happen. Because it might not necessarily be his fault that certain things happen. He resigned. Yeah, he resigned. He's out. The board told him he had to resign, I bet. The point is that the stock price dropped 50%. Exactly. They decided that you had to buy like this many items for it on like a single digit list, right? Or a single line list. Like you have to spend like $400 to get all the content in the game or something like that. Like this was not a decision made by developers.
What he just said there, though, you can't say in 2023. I'm just being honest. You do a bad job, you're fired. Then they cry about it, People cry about it. You can't do that. Well, I didn't do this. Well, I didn't do this. I got this excuse. I got this excuse. Blah, 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 blah. I mean, that's just how it is. And it's just funny because that's the first thing I come up to. Like anytime something bad goes on nowadays, I just think, am I allowed to say this? I never thought twice of what I was going to say ever. Now that you have to like really second guess what you're going to say. And I mean, he's right. Making all these DLCs so much money and, the suits are to blame because they're the ones making those final decisions. But as a whole, sometimes you get promoted and you take on different responsibilities and you get in trouble. I mean, like when I was a general contractor and I was out on jobs, masonry jobs, and I was literally talking to OSHA so I didn't get rode up, as I'm doing health walkthroughs with OSHA, something goes wrong. A blueprint's wrong. A brick's not there. A wall's not put up right. Guess who's getting chewed out? Me. Not the company that's doing the brick laying. Me. I get shit on. So after I'm done with my meeting, I got to go clean up the mess. Then as I'm cleaning up that mess, something else happens. The electrical team, doesn't show up, or the drywall guys don't. It's on me, So I have to take all the blame. But if I fire one of those guys, I'm the bad guy, And, I think with all this, what he's saying here is that, it's not like he's saying that someone needs to be held accountable, but I want to see where he goes with this.
Because I want to play good games, and I don't want to play bad games. If you fuck up, you should be out. That's it.
That's tough.
I'm not saying like one strike, you're out. But this has been an ongoing problem for years. This is the way it is supposed to work. Is the board of directors, and this is like Sony, for example, and this is /owners. The board of directors /owners make the executive management accountable to them. And then executive management make mid-management accountable to them. And then the workers make each person down here accountable. The workers are accountable to mid-management. And then the work from the workers is then given to the consumer. And then the consumer then holds the board of directors ultimately accountable, shareholders. And this is if it's a publicly traded company. So the consumers get mad at the shareholders and then, or they basically like pump the price down. And then the shareholders then hold the board of directors accountable or the owners accountable. And this could also be owners as well. So this is the way that it is supposed to work. Does that make sense? Regular people can be shareholders too, though? Oh, no, you're right. It's not this clean, but this is generally the way that it works.
This guy's cooking right now. But that's how it's supposed to work. But it doesn't work like that nowadays. In my opinion, it just doesn't. It just doesn't. Because not once has there been a bug in the game, a problem in Destiny 2, and they're tweeting Sony and they're tweeting the owners, Not once. If there's something wrong in the game, the Destiny community goes straight for the devs. They do. But then the devs are like, hey, well, we weren't pitching these ideas. Executive management and the board of directors wouldn't let us add those ideas. But
almost 1 year.
We don't know that because we're not there. We don't know, we don't know what upper management says. Upper management doesn't have to talk to us. They don't have to give us anything. They don't have to give us anything. So, and if we had a name for the face, it'd be different. But this is how it's supposed to go in the perfect world, which is true. But I just really don't think that, I don't feel like the Destiny community does that. Like, just pay attention. Literally just pay attention from now until final shape drops and see what people say. They're not going to be saying Pete Parsons' fault, Sony's fault. They're going to be going after the lower people. Watch.
The Bungie layoffs came directly from Bungie management, not Sony. Yeah, I know. Well, but what I'm saying is that Sony should have fired the management that made those layoffs mandatory. Does that make sense? So like the layoffs might have had to have happened, but they should also get rid of the people in management that created the situation that allowed the layoff situation to occur in the first place. Yeah, and because now you're mad.
Accountability. Right? Accountability.
And now you want to have something happen.
To be fair, though, I want to know why the numbers were pumped. Okay. Something happened in the Sony deal with Bungie. Those numbers got inflated. They had to. Because I still don't understand the 45% loss. Witch Queen broke Forsaken numbers. Lightfall broke Witch Queen numbers. We had the most played Trials weekend. We had the most day one raid players. It just doesn't make sense. How did they not meet projections? Those numbers were projected or they were inflated. Something happened. And we're never going to know because that's like the dark file that's hidden in the Area 51 room. We'll never know.
Being fired on the 30th of the month so you get 1 day of benefits is bullshit. Shows management's true colors.
Yeah, that hurts.
I think that's probably just standard corporate procedure, but you're right. Standard corporate procedure is not very good. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much what I think about it. That really sucks, and I feel bad for the people that got fired, regardless of if it was deserved or not. And it seems like Destiny 2 should be firing, if anything, more people and holding people accountable for why the game has apparently a terrible reputation and has had that for multiple years. This is a massive IP. Bungie is a massively incredible company with an amazing pedigree, like 20-year pedigree.
Yeah.
Why are you letting this happen?
Overall, my thought on this is, he was cooking. Like when he made that graph, he was cooking. And I just, I really wanted to hear what he had to say because I like Asmongold's opinion. He's actually like on top of this stuff. Like he doesn't give a fuck. He's just like, I'm going to tell you how it is. This is how it is. Bing, bam, boom, and it's, it was a good video. I do agree with his takes, but like he kept saying over and over, he kept saying, we don't know what's true. We don't know if this is true. This is all he said, she said. So